Welcome back. I've got Brandon McKee on the line. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing well, Michael. Thanks for having me on.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and we started talking a little bit in the pre-show about marketing and things like that. But let's save it for the actual show. Why don't we? I've done that so many times. I've had great conversations with people in the pre-show, and then I'm like, wait, did we talk about that? Was that in the pre-show or in this? And we're like scratching our head and all that stuff. So why don't you share a little bit about you and this awesome work you're doing?
Sure, absolutely. So I run a Win Big Media, Michael. I'm the CEO, and we are a data forward marketing agency. And a lot of people ask me what that means. And essentially, we have a partnership with one of the largest data collection agencies in the country. And what we do there is we're able to build out these really robust reports to help understand our clients' marketing segments. So who, what, where, how they're perceiving their transactions, traits, behaviors. So we really cover a lot of data before we even dive into someone's marketing needs. And it really helps us be more impactful and ultimately get a better ROI for our clients. So that's a little bit about what we do.
Yeah, and if you go to their website, people, you'll see who some of their clients are. Their names you should know, and the fact that you're able to grab that information can help your clients to say, okay, this is a segment that we're doing really well in. Then you double down on that, and you say, okay, this is going well, and that's so it's so important to have that information. Going back
Yes.
years and years ago in the early days of advertising, it's like you put the ad out there, you have no idea who's looking at it at any given time. Where now, you know so much about who's looking at it that you can tailor your message like, okay, we're seeing a big spike in this demographic with this and this and this. Okay, maybe we need to tweak our offering a bit and say, okay, let's adjust this. And then next thing you know, that audience that's been consuming your content is going to go, that's what I need. I've been waiting for that. Next thing you know, you've
100%.
generated a new line of business or expanded on your existing line of business. So what got you interested in this kind of work?
So I was actually from the fitness industry, and I was a fitness industry partner and had a couple different health clubs. And ultimately, I was really frustrated with my marketing. Didn't understand why I used to call it the spray and pray method, was not working. We were spending a ton of dollars every month on marketing and not seeing a huge ROI at all. So ultimately, I met our chairman and founder, Philip, and we hit it off, obviously. And I just got really passionate about helping small business owners up to large, Fortune 200 companies with their marketing spends and making sure that they're getting more bang for their buck. And, I think too often in the agency space, and every marketing professional out there has probably witnessed this, is that let me throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. And so ultimately for us, we're trying to make that method go away completely and do everything based on data and facts, and give that confidence back to business owners that the budgets they're setting aside will actually make an impact.
Yeah, I'm sure some of my information's in the data you provide, especially for like people like Uncle G or Mr. Hyatt or other people. Not to name drop or anything like that, but they've got my money in the past, for in a variety of different ways and things like
Right,
that.
right.
It's like I have a folder. It says 10x, so there's stuff in there. So Grant, you can send me some residual. No, it's all right. I don't need that. I don't. I'll take it. Believe me, I'll take it. But but so walk us through without giving away the Colonel's secret recipe. When you grew this, because obviously it was something that was a startup,
Yeah,
and then grew it, and all of a sudden you start, reaching out to, I don't want to call them the who's who, but they are the who's who,
yeah.
especially in the names, some of these big names, what was that process like, when you started, landing these, extremely established organizations that are big houses that you would think sometimes, where they would just do it internally, but, they reached out to you for guidance and things like that. What was that process like?
Yeah. Well, it may help to share that, our original background is actually in political marketing. And what we do, and this is exactly how political marketing works, is that you have to pay attention to the data to understand how to get voters to act in your favor, obviously. And so we took that concept and what we call as the 5-step undefeated marketing system, the first step being the data side of things. And we said, we think that's going to work for the corporate world. We did a lot of test cases. We started, as just two of us and then grew from there. And as I mentioned, Philip, our founder and CEO formerly, is ultimately just really passionate about, helping business owners again get through all that murky waters of the marketing world. There's so many agencies out there that come in, say, hey, I'll take 100% of your marketing budget. Let's throw it at Facebook. Let's see what works. Let's see if it's going to be positive. And you don't even know if your audience is on Facebook. So we took those same concepts and then articulated them to the corporate world, got our brand out there, started talking about it, started getting on, as many platforms as we could, and really proved our concept and have some really good client results to back it up. Particularly in the pandemic, when that first hit, a lot of people, and we were chatting about this earlier, start to reel back, right? People get scared. They cut their marketing budgets, and we were telling everyone to double down. Hey, don't cut your marketing budget, just get smarter about it, get targeted. And when we did that, we saw the results, and we were able to replicate those for time and time again for all of our clients.
Yeah, and again, knowing those customers and clients that you have, being familiar with what they do, just because I see, what's going on with them, or I've bought things from them. Yeah, I can tell, that during the pandemic, they didn't slow down. They didn't disappear. They were front and center and above and beyond, and doing all kinds of different things. And I think that speaks volumes to what you're doing. And you alluded to it. It's like, because, and we talked about this in the pre-show, I do remember this, that again, it's counterintuitive for a lot of people. It's like, okay, the economy is starting to slip. I should, I need to, my revenue is dropping. Advertising and marketing seems to be the first thing to go, but it's like, how are people going to know about you if you don't let them know about you? If you say, okay, it's like basically saying, okay, we're going to take all of our branding and all of our ads and all that stuff, and we're going to hide them. Kind of like what we'll use an analogy, kind of like the iOS update did to Facebook. It's like, boy, did that cause a little bit of strain for some people. But again, that's a situation where you go in your organization, because you've got the data. It's like, okay, well, this is how we're going to work with this. Who are your customers? Where are they at? Where are they spending? What are they doing? Okay, where do they spend their time? Okay, well, obviously on their iPhone, not likely going to be seeing your ads, or it's going to be a little bit different. Let's go this path. And those organizations that were proactive about that, didn't see a drop, and maybe, quite frankly, probably saw increases because they shifted a little bit of the direction of the ad spend in different places.
100%. And, we look at this, we always use the word opportunity with all of our clients and any prospective clients we're chatting with. This is an opportunity. This isn't a time to shell up. I have an interesting statistic, and we track, of course, 230 million American consumers on any given day. And so 70% of Americans say currently, right now, that they're in the same or better than they were financially 6 months ago. So whereas the media and, some of these other, platforms are saying, hey, it's bad out there, stop spending your money, people won't buy from you. It's actually the perfect time to get targeted, get smart, get your name out there. And, if you're a company out there going dark completely, it's just like you said, your brand is dropping off, especially if you're in an essential business, where you're selling something that someone's going to need. Maybe it's not today, but it's 3 months from now, and you go dark. Your competition is going to come in and take your market share. And we see it happen time and time again. And the economy is always ebbing and flowing. So you can't just go dark. Can't do it.
Yeah, because like you said, your competition is going to take advantage of it, and they're just going to get further along. And then when you decide, okay, it's time to spend money on marketing and branding again, they're going to be further away from you, and then you're catching up, and you may not get that market share back. And you just have to do it smart, and utilizing the information that's available, and spending in areas where it makes the most sense, and figuring out, okay, where are our customers? What are their needs? Do we have something to solve that? Let's find them. Let's make sure we find each other, and wash, rinse, repeat. But again, a lot of startups and entrepreneurs, they do the old method of just, okay, we're just going to throw a bunch of money at this thing and see what happens. And
it works.
It works. And on the flip side of it too, and a lot of people don't understand this, it's like, you do the spend, you've got the data, you've got everything. It's like, okay, let's do this campaign. It's like you turn it on and they're checking it 5 minutes after it's on. Unless you've got something that is so unicorn, rainbows, magical that has never existed in human history, and all it's going to take time. It's got to get
Yep.
traction because there's, guess what, a bazillion other businesses that are doing the same thing amongst different things. All you got to do is scroll up Instagram. In between 3 or 4 posts, there's going to be an ad of something that you are interested in
Oh yeah.
because you downloaded something or you liked something. So, the algorithms are going to say, yeah, you like this type of content, or it never fails. You ask the listening speakers and you ask for something. Sure enough, you go on Facebook or something else, there's an ad for something like it or similar. And you're going, how did that happen? And
Right.
as time goes on and things get more intelligent, it just makes it easier. So in that intelligence and all of that stuff that they know about you, guess what? That's being captured. So
Yep.
now in more and more places, your interests, the things you like, the products you buy, the services you're looking for, they're going to be made available to you, which a lot of people say, well, it's kind of, intrusive. But my point of view on it is, if I'm looking at a magazine, we'll go old
Hmm.
school here, looking at a magazine, wouldn't it be cool if the ads were all things that I might like or want to buy instead of I'd never buy that or I don't want that?
Yeah.
That's what ads are. They're branding and marketing things based on your interest. And with AI and all the other things that are going on right now, it's going to get even more and more specialized to literally know what it may even sound a little creepy, but it's like they're going to know what you want before you know what you want.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that because of your buying patterns, and they're going to go, okay, people that bought all of these things, eventually they buy this by 50 or 60%. Okay, let's start putting in those ads. All of a sudden
Right.
you're like, oh wow, that's actually a great idea, I should get that. And
Exactly.
it's a great way to serve because these are things that obviously you need.
Yeah. The algorithms, I always say this to our clients and anyone engaging with us, is that the algorithms have to learn. It might surprise people to learn that the average campaign reaches maximum maturity, I guess we'll say, about 4 weeks in. So if you're, the type of person that's looking every hour and you pull that campaign on, you know, day two when you aren't getting the CPAs that you wanted right away, you're actually hurting your own brand. Ultimately, most advertisements work on a drip campaign process, right? So I always love this statistic that a lot of people bring up to me when we engage with them. I know someone needs to see something 7 times in order to convert, Brandon. And I always laugh and say that that's a study from the 1960s. It's more like 500 times now. And so these algorithms will help you, but you have to let them. So
It's the equivalent of like you're baking something in the oven and it's going to take 35 minutes to cook. It's like you're
100%.
you're opening it up every minute. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? No, no, the timer's not done.
That's
It's
just going
still
to mess up your cake.
it's going to mess up your cake. It's like it's not going to rise, or the chicken's still going to be raw or whatever
Yep.
the case may be. It's like you got to step back and then proceed on doing the other parts of your business as a leader,
Yeah.
and then working with a team like yours, you're going to keep tabs on it. You're going to see what's going on in the response.
Oh
You're
yeah.
like, okay, we're not getting any response from the Northeast for some reason. Okay, let's maybe target it a little bit better because for some reason Southwest is booming for you. Okay,
Yeah.
let's kind of expand that a little bit more and see what kind of information we're getting. Again, based on all the stats that you have access to, you'll know it's like statistically speaking, yeah, you expand a little bit more here, you'll likely get, those clicks, and, the average
Right.
cost per click will drop a bit, and you'll start landing some more responses and getting those leads or purchases or whatever you happen to be marketing. And again,
Absolutely.
it's an ebb and flow, and as you'll launch something and like, wow, that campaign crushed it. Okay, we're going to launch something else. And you follow it, and it doesn't have anywhere near the grab as the other one. And you're like, well, why not? It's like, well, timing, circumstances, you name it. It could be a bunch of things. But again, knowing that information, you'll know that more ahead of time than not. You're like, okay, we think that it's going to do this based on what we've seen in other campaigns. That's not a guarantee. So I don't want
Right.
anybody calling you and going, Brandon, I should get 70% call, I should get that. No, we're dealing with humans. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
When things
that,
change,
yeah,
things
people,
change. I mean, we see
yeah.
it in the data, we're constantly monitoring our data sources and looking at it, on a weekly and monthly basis. And we see changes, even upwards. We'll do a report for a client, and 3 months later, we'll do that same report, and things change. And that's why we monitor that and we make adjustments based on that. And so, but people would be surprised. I mean, I have a great example. We were working with a client, and their consumer base loved dogs. And so we actually took that data point and put dogs in their advertising, and it went through the roof. I mean, best ad campaigns they've run in years. And then we did that same report a year later when it was time to refresh that data and kind of look a little deeper. And the dog correlation was gone. So things change, and you have to change with it.
That's the thing. So I don't want to say an ideal customer, but let's rephrase it this way. What would make your job easier as an agency for the client to come to you? What could they bring to you as far as here's the information that you need in order for you to be able to get started to work with them and all that? Because and I said this in the pre-show notes, my original career was in public accounting. So it's tax season. It's tax season at the time that we're recording this. Now that doesn't impact me other than me filing taxes and all of that kind of stuff. But April 16th, I still feel this sense of relief, even though I haven't been in that industry in decades. I still feel, why do my shoulders feel so much looser today? It's weird. But I remember people coming into our firm, and some were really prepared. They had all the information tabulated real easy. And then there was always those people that brought in the grocery bag or a shoebox full of receipts and say, here you go. And you're like, oh, great. So it's what makes it easier for your firm to work with clients, just so the clients or future clients that are listening to this episode, they can be better prepared to work with the team.
It's a great question. I think two things primarily is that, there's as much first party data as someone can bring to us. And that means maybe an email list or a customer list. One thing we always do is put a pixel on someone's website to help understand the differences between their website customers and maybe their email list customers. We also have access to a lot of third party data, which is the data I spoke about earlier, those 230 million Americans. So as much as they can bring to the table in terms of historics, that's really good for us to understand, because then we can create multiple different segments of their customer and create great campaigns with that data. Now, the second is a little less factual based. It's a commitment is what I always tell prospective clients. So if you come to me and, I try to put this out there very bluntly to everyone that we work with, we don't have a get rich quick pill. That's not what we do. We have a very scientific and data approach in terms of marketing, but we don't have the get rich quick pill. So someone that comes to us and they want to grow their company and they say, hey, I'm spending 2% of total revenue every year on marketing, that's probably not a good fit. Someone needs to have a real commitment if they want to grow their operation to spending, and this varies by industry. So, don't want anyone to call me again and yell at me, but 10 to 15 to 20% even in some instances, like on the e-com side of your total revenue, you should be reinvesting into your marketing spend if you want to grow. So if you come to me, it's like I always call it if you want a BMW on a Toyota budget, right? That doesn't work, right? You have to spend money against your marketing to capture market share and make money. So it's not that you have to have the biggest budget in the world. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's you have to have a commitment to spend a portion of your revenue and profits ultimately towards growing your company. And if you can't commit to that, then we might not be the best agency for someone.
It's good. I'm glad you shared that, because it's important. Because I don't want you to get bombarded with a bunch of people that say, well, I have no budget to spend. It's like, well, then we're not gonna work, because you're asking us to do something without getting paid, and we still have to pay those organizations to place an ad on them. They don't do it for free. So and I know a lot of people there, they have a mindset around it. And I tell people, change your mindset. It's like continue investing in your business so it grows and grows and grows. You'll get your ROI out of it a lot sooner
Oh
than
yeah,
you think if you do the work right and you have a product or service that's going to serve people and make their lives better. You do that, once people find out about you, then everything's going to take care of itself. But yeah,
yep,
there's steps in it, and yeah, the get rich quick, that is so rare that
yeah,
sometimes it happens. But even then, they say, "Wow, you just launched and it did this." Yeah, but how long have you been working on that behind the scenes? Oh, I started when I
exactly.
was 17, and now I'm 34. Yeah, that wasn't instant. That took some time.
Right,
So
right.
that's spot on advice. So anything else you think organizations should be looking for? I mean, it's hard to predict the future, but we've
Yeah.
talked about it a couple of times, but what are some trends that you're seeing right now? And I know you said that the economy is actually looking a lot better than what the media is telling us. But
Yeah.
what are some other things that you see on the horizon over the next maybe year or two? I don't like saying 5 years. Who knows? But in the next year, even sometimes it's like, but just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. Well, I talk to a lot of our clients, and we have a lot of clients also in that financial services industry. And I think a lot of people continue to use the word recession and kind of guess as to when that's happening, what's going on. Some people will tell you it's happening right now. And then some people will tell you it's going to happen in 6 months, right? So I think the one thing you can do is make sure to dive deep into your audience and understand what they value out of your product. The one thing we see most often when we engage with customers is that they have maybe an understanding of their audience, and they get a deeper dive in that with us and our customer insights report that we provide to them. But it's all about your messaging and your creative after that. So that's something that my company specializes in. We take that data and then we put that into the creative, the messaging, the branding that's going out to the world. For example, if you know that your customers value trust and accountability, and they want value, not a discount, but they want value, then that's got to be in your messaging. And if you're missing that, if you're just leading with coupons and discounts and buy three, get one free, and your customers are telling you, no, I want value, I want this to last me a long time, and I actually correlate that coupon with basically taking away value, right? Then you're actually working against yourself. So making sure that whether you've researched your customers or not, engaged with someone like us or not, that ultimately your messaging and your creative is aligned with what that data tells you, not what your opinion is of your own product. We see that a lot. Business owners obviously are very passionate about what they do, and they project that onto their creative messaging, branding. Nobody cares what you like. They want to know, you want to know what your customers like, because that's who's buying your product.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of what Michael Hyatt said. Now, this goes back when he was still CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishing, but he was launching his own brand too. And this was back in 08, 09, right when the Great Recession was happening. And he basically said, and this is a mindset thing, and this won't shock you, he basically said, I'm not participating in the recession. I'm going to go
Yeah.
about and run my business and grow it and do the things that I need to do in order for it to be successful. And that was years ago. And that just clear as day remember reading that in one of his blog posts. And I'm like, that's spot on. We can easily say, oh, it's the
Yeah.
recession, shrink down, diminish ourselves, reduce what we offer to clients, minimizing the impact that we're having on our community and our society. Or we can be bold and say, I'm not participating in this. I will navigate through whatever I need to do in order to be successful and serve the clients that I need to serve in the best way that I can. If we have that approach and that positive mindset, it's not being delusional. It's just like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do whatever we need to do to grow, get the information that we need in order to make the best decisions that we can do at that time. More often than not, you're going to be fine, and you're going to be better than fine. You're going to grow your business in times where things are declining. And I don't like playing the victim on anything. Like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm
Right.
yes, I'm not trying to diminish what's going on. I'm not trying to diminish the struggles that a lot of people are going through right now. But I'm going to do everything I can to not participate in that and do whatever I can to help and grow what I do and help and serve others, because by then we'll pull all of us out of whatever we're in together. So it's a good mindset to have.
Absolutely. We, in fact, just had Michael on the Undefeated Marketing podcast just a couple weeks ago, and nothing has changed. I mean, he used the word opportunity, mindset, and that's really what this is, right? It's a challenge that you, as an entrepreneur or business owner or manager, have to overcome, and you have to tackle it head on, and you have to be targeted and careful, but you can't just go dark. That's not going to work. Nobody ever won by going and hiding in the corner.
Nope. And sailors don't become good sailors with the waters being smooth. They got to be choppy. That's where growth happens.
Yep,
So, Brandon,
absolutely.
love this conversation. Where can people find out more about you and this amazing work you're doing?
Yeah, it's been great, Michael. Winbigmedia.com is the best place to go and learn about what we do and how we can help you. I'm also happy to vet any questions at Brandon@winbigmedia.com as well. Would love to hear from anyone.
Awesome. And I'll definitely
Yeah.
have that in the show notes. So thank you for this time today and for all this amazing work you're doing.
Thank you, Michael.